and he shoots the breeze with eliquid. Me and have been meaning to chat for years, and finally got round to it. Here's 90 minutes of us chatting, knowing we're probably going to drop it into the forum.Apologies that at about 30 minutes it starts lagging. We turned off our videos and it gets a bit better. There's some periods in the middle where we lose Jason a bit, but it's great hearing his counterintuitive ideas about procrastination and other things. The laggy parts were probably due to my connection since I live in a rural area. If anyone wants clarification where it lags, just let me know and I will try to explain here in the forum. We'll be listening into it. Thanks Andy and eliquid. Been a while since Andy did a fresh interview voiceover. Wow, I just listened to it. It was so laggy. My bad. Didn't realize my connection was so off. Yeah, anyone that listens that wants to know more, just let me know and I will clarify. I'll listen again and create some cliff notes. From memory, what were your cliff notes, and what was your main takeaway? The main one for me was to make hay when the sun is shining or strike while the iron is hot. I'm chipping away at a nice pace, but I'm assuming the opportunities I see will be there forever. I could do with upping my pace a wee bit. You also have me thinking about what my natural tendencies are. I thought I knew, but will have to think on it a bit more. 2 heavy hitters. Excited to listen to this after work. On my way home. I have to put the headphones on once I get there. Thanks for sharing this, guys. Whatever you two will talk about, I'm sure a lot of people will find value in it. Thanks for letting us in on the chat. One thing that I think I understood but was very laggy was you talking about procrastination. Would you mind expanding on that? I do the same thing and procrastinate on nearly everything in life, and I think it's damaging certain aspects, especially getting started with my business. I don't know if it's the way I work or if I need to change. Thanks man. So the premise is, certain people are natural procrastinators. Should that always be looked at as bad? Of course, that depends on what you are procrastinating on and if it is damaging your life or career or goals too. I can't speak for everyone, but there has been research done that shows certain types of people procrastinate more than others. Since I have only done research on myself, INTJ, 5W 4 or 6, I can only speak on what I found personally. Which is original thinkers who are creative and love to tinker. You could call this person a maker, which I had seen others refer to this as. Even before this research, I knew I was a procrastinator. I procrastinate on everything, not just things I hate or don't like or feel uncomfortable with. But I had a nagging feeling that I must be some kind of loser. The guy that waits until the last minute, and that I had a problem that needed to be fixed. But procrastination isn't entirely about trying to get out of things you hate, don't like, on wish you had more info on before acting. For example, some of my best work ever in my life came from procrastination. Yeah, I knew I needed to write that speech, blog article, code snippet 7 days ago. But I wasn't interested. Whoa, I only have 2 hours left before it's due. I end up writing the most flawless article, perfect code snippet, greatest speech ever with no hiccups or mistakes. That wouldn't have happened 7 days ago. I would still be re-editing it and trying to make it perfect. It's like my brain was on the limitless pill during that 2-hour spread. If I would have gotten started 7 days ago, it wouldn't have been a challenge.My INTJ 5W 4 or 6 personality craves the challenge deep down inside. It stimulates me. Anything else would be boring. Have you ever had nothing else to lose? Like you had hit rock bottom, nothing else stands in your way, and your back is up against the wall? All you have left is to just give it your all because there is nothing else left? Like you're 1 point down, 3 seconds left, And you got the ball dribbling past half court, so you better put everything into making this last second shot to win the game. But it's just not the Russian challenge. I'm actually producing some of the best output in that time crunch. I used to think acting on something now was important. Listen, I agree making hay while the sun shines is important. I talk about it in the talk with Andy, but some things can be left to simmer. However, when I procrastinate on an idea or thought, I find myself forgetting about it while my subconscious percolates on it. It refines it, finds answers, connects the dots, while I dump it and work on something else. Like life. Many times I have had a problem or issue and decided to let it go, only to find days later it pops up again in my thoughts, but this time I have a solution for it that I never thought about before. Maybe I go to bed on an idea and wake up with it improved. It's like I allowed my mind to work it out for me when I thought there was no way to improve it or solve it. Even if it has a pressing deadline and needs to be done soon, I just procrastinate and let it ferment in the back of my mind. Am I saying it will work for you? Nah. All I am saying is some people are just built this way and there is no need to listen to others who might try to sway you to act or behave differently than you naturally are. For me, procrastination is a strength. We'll watch soon. At what point does the shooting begin? Thanks again, Jason, that helps to clear things up. I think my main problem is taking the leap of faith and follow through with my plans. Instead, I procrastinate. There's also no deadline or tangible punishment involved in improving my life. I keep procrastinating and making excuses. It's basically become a routine: research, plan, think, research some more, but never act. I feel like something is wrong with me. Anyone else feel this way? Sorry to hijack the thread, or autopsy feel that too. I started taking really minor action lately, but every day I waste time and procrastinate. I deleted a gigantic paragraph listing my latest list of things I have not achieved yet. I think the best thing to do is to list what you need to get done, either mentally, digitally or physically. Once it's done, pick one thing. Do one step working towards the completion of that one thing. Repeat these steps every day. Or a topic. Give yourself a deadline. Stuff doesn't get done after meetings. It gets done before meetings. Blaise Brosnan. Conversation of the Gods. Definitely going to listen after my work. Reminds me a little bit of that Trey Parker and Matt Stone documentary on the making of a South Park episode. They give themselves 7 days till it goes on the air, otherwise it just doesn't work. Absolutely, guys. I need a deadline. Probably with some sort of punishment too if I don't follow through. I'll check out that doc too, thanks. I think there is a difference in someone who procrastinates on a deadline, and someone that just procrastinates. With me, I have a deadline. Hence why I said I always meet my deadlines even though I wait until the last minute. If you have no deadline, then yeah, your procrastination will be the end of you. The only cure I have found is that you just have to touch what you are procrastinating on. When that deadline is about to cross, I just touch the task I was procrastinating on and then it's the only thing I can think about. Try just touching and working on it for 10 minutes. For me, that's what sets it off. I will listen this today. As the topic on procrastination is going, I am in the same shoes. I just procrastinate. Plain and simple. I just read novels. If I read novel in morning, I will just sidestep all my work or task and read the novel whole day. It's just like I get stuck in quagmire. I think having a task list written down and having a deadline helps me, but I stop doing this habit after some time. Can anyone help me? Meta punishments. IMO, if you need a punishment then maybe you need a stronger why. My hack? Help people. Put other people first and don't let them down. What if you don't have a strong why? What if you're too comfortable where you're at now? Like a frog in slowly boiling water, he never tries to escape because in the moment he's comfortable, until it's too late. Exactly. Darken the page. Gary Halbert, one of the world's best copywriters, suggests you get a piece of paper out and just start. The rest will take care of itself. Also, there's a podcast where Doberman Dan describes how Gary Halbert wrote his copy. He'd read through all the material, then go chill for a few days. Like go out on his boat fishing. Dan would start panicking that the deadline was looming. Gary wouldn't allow any discussion beforehand on the topic. Then Gary would say, "It's time," and they'd head back to shore and he'd start writing. He filled up his brain with the input. Let it percolate for a while. Then he'd work on the output. This is another reason why I don't understand people consuming constantly. They fill up their head and don't allow their brain to order the information and fit it into what's already there. They're collecting information, not knowledge, and certainly not wisdom. A book a day? WTF? Clarity and simplicity are our goals, not a never-ending filling up of the overflowing glass. By the way, anyone who listens to this call, do the people following behind a favor and comment with your takeaways and what you'll do different going forward. Commenting moves you imperceptibly from team consumer to team producer. Make it about other people then. Will you be late when you're due to pick your elderly relative up from the airport? Or are you there on time? Will you be late when your team leader needs that report to prevent his ass from getting kicked by senior management? Will you be late when someone paid you to deliver X by Y date and Y date is coming up? I totally agree on this one. I think we do better procrastinate less when we're doing it for other people. Same as helping others even by going out of our way. That's human nature, I guess. So if we make or dedicate it to others, it could move us forward more quickly. Some of my own observations: 1. I wave my hands a lot. Except for when Jason is talking, when I then fold them to stop waving them around. I try not to move when someone else is talking, but I listen actively and smile and nod to encourage them to keep going. 2. Somehow we manage to pass the mic between us seamlessly. Not once in 90 minutes do we interrupt each other, and we are two guys passionate about what we do, have a lot to say, and have never spoken to each other. Figure out how we do that. 3. The recording starts with me halfway through a sentence. I didn't bother to edit that part out because it's quicker to just upload to YouTube and SoundCloud, post to the forum, and be done with it. Would you have just uploaded it, or would you have had to edit it out? Do you think the recording is any worse for that half sentence? Do you think we should redo the whole conversation because it got laggy in places? For me to clickbaity titles. 5. It's so much better seeing Jason when he talks. Sure, we stop the video 30 minutes in, but you've got a feel for him by then. Do either of us come across as fake or over-rehearsed? Do you instinctively trust Jason, and even more when he opens up and says he prefers working alone, and doing his own bookkeeping? Do we come across as salesy, or as passionate techies or practitioners? 6. Do you think either of us are people you'd go for a coffee with? Why? 7. Do you think either of us are people you'd refer your friends to if they needed help with XYZ? Why? 8. If our first meeting was in person, I'd shake a liquid's hand, give him a big goofy grin, and probably a bro hug. Why though, when we've never met in person before? I'd do the same with, and many other forum members. Why? Why would they shake my hand too? Do you truly understand the biggest benefit of being in TFLF? Or is this somewhere you're taking, building authority, generating leads, or being snarky, negative, or just lurking? Even if you don't think you can add value, you're wrong. BTW, you can still just support others. One-liners I remember from the call: I'm doing it anyway. Do things that don't scale. Be someone people will buy from. Craig or see, I'm going to write a post on that one. Show them their bleeding neck. Perry Marshall: scratch your own itch. Scratch your customer's itch. Become a domain authority. You can't outsource passion and insight. You don't get the same insights when you're not at the coalface. I wouldn't trust Google as far as I could throw them. I've an idea for my answers. Any others jump out at you? Ha ha. Thanks.Do we look and sound like odds though? Or just two ordinary guys who are good at what they do, know themselves and how they work, and are confident enough to do it their own way? Do you think we spend more time consuming and listening to others, or producing? What's the most important thing in our armories? Our skill sets, or our mindsets? What about our sales skills? Do you think we're classic salesmen? Would we get jobs selling door to door? Why? Would you buy from us? Why? Main takeaway. Don't accept other people's opinions, ideas or suggestions, question them, find out the facts, form your own conclusions and take action based on those conclusions. If the data is pointing to an idea, follow it, test it and see what falls out the other end. Secondary takeaway. Deadlines help get things done. I've found this in the past with creative things such as songwriting. After spending 2.5 years writing an album, I booked a singer to rework vocal parts and rewrote the vocals for 70% of the songs in 2 weeks. I'm now experimenting with a business model that has deadlines for releases throughout the year, which will boost my output if nothing else and hopefully make a pretty penny at the same time. It was a cool listen, thanks. And if that is what really happens, you need to replace the novel in the morning with your biggest task for the day. Sounds like you may need a morning routine as well. Ending up broke is enough punishment for me. Thinking my kids won't eat or that I couldn't pay my co-payment at the hospital if I went is enough for me too. Take the next week off and go help at a homeless shelter or drug addiction shelter. If you can't get a why from that, I don't know what else could help. Oh, I like this. I'm letting my response to this and the takeaway percolate for another day. But the one-liner I like the best was the, putting it on the long finger. I'm going to find a way to use this daily for the next week somehow. Only because I know no one here has ever heard it and they will constantly ask me what it means. Then I get to explain it to them and everything else that comes with it. Maybe I can add that to my skill set. Say things that make people ask me a question about things I wanted to tell them anyways, so that it seems like they had the idea to do so, rather than me pushing on them for it so it doesn't look sales-y. I'm going to spend the night looking up quotes and sayings in other countries now just to get people to ask me what I'm talking about. Sorry if I missed it, but what does this stand for? You need to is a red flag. You need to. Well, no I don't. Andy, what are they not saying, and what are the what-ifs to that? Jason, sometimes when you do the things that don't scale, that's where you get the quality and the value. Then, once you do that, you figure out a way to scale that. Jason, you can't outsource passion and insight. Andy, AdWords is growing to take away options and data away from you, so they can intelligently make the decision for you. But people like you and me know that when you give them that type of data, you're missing out on insights. Jason, I could talk for literal days about this direction. And I have. If I do the opposite, I'll get a different result from everyone else. Andy, insights from the first 30 minutes. Real cool stuff, guys. Just finished the entire podcast and I found it very informative. Thank you both for doing this, and my most important takeaway was the idea of setting deadlines to prevent procrastination. Thank you. Personality types. INTJ equals 5W4 or 6 equals also, C, which talks about values a lot and priorities. But there is a section about why all these ties into the above inch and 5W4 and personality types and how to shape your values and goals around that. Thanks. Any takeaways from the rest of the call? 1. Waving hands makes it more full and even emotional. gives a feeling that both of you are totally focused on it. 2 You're really good at listening and you both wait for another person to finish the talk and don't interrupt him. 3 A half sentence at the beginning doesn't make it any worse. Same with lags and missing video. All the value inside is much more important than making it perfect. 4 The titles are fine. 5 Definitely better with video, more information. You don't look salesy at all. More like passionate practitioners with a little techie way to approach things. I trust Jason from his threads and posts and he's open here too. 6 Yes, definitely. You're both smart and have interesting background and stories to tell. I am pretty sure that can provide some value to the talk too and probably get more out of this. We can even end up with some win-win opportunities from the talk if it would touch business. Sounds pretty salesy. I know. 7 Sorry, I probably don't have friends who would benefit from your SaaS. Andy's services are pretty expensive for an average Ukrainians, but he's doing it this way and that talks for itself that the expected results should be way better with him than other cheaper options. I would definitely recommend him for someone who's looking for that kind of service and would have positive expected ROI. Not doing services for $2 to $3 or our.Age. You've answered it already. For me, the biggest benefits are being in a community of people who are controlling their lives or on their way to reaching this big goal. Helping others, learning something new from their experience and getting help when I need it. Everyone has different backgrounds and doing different things, so there's an opportunity to add value somewhere for everyone. Yes, I can't help much with e-commerce, but I'm on programming except machine learning and outsourcing. Really feel guilty of thinking otherwise during the last small depression from being in a corridor with too many doors and couldn't pick one that would get me out. Funny that I've walked to this corridor on my own will. Both of you really helped me to find my way with this chat and on the inside. Turned out the exit was the door I came in, right behind me and I couldn't see it myself any longer, lol. As long as I see something is working for me, I immediately have to get this. Jason and others posted there already. I think that's very interesting and cool. Of course! Was it because of the phrase putting it on the long finger? Have you had a chance to use it? I jest. What makes you rate it so highly, now you've had a while to think about it? Yes, the long finger. I have used it, but no one has asked me about it. Lol, I just wanted to bump your thread, so I made the comment about my interview. Ha.